Did you know it's actually possible to create a full story with a beginning, a middle, and an end with just 100 words? I do, because I used to write this stuff. What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. You're with Chris, and today I'll be reviewing 100 Words of Horror, an anthology of horror drabbles collected by Kevin J. Kennedy, published in 2018. This collection contains heaps of fiction with stories of just 100 words exactly. Talk about discipline. Now, I came across this one on Goodreads purely by happenstance. Somebody liked it and reviewed it, and I thought this looks really good because I haven't read microfiction in ages, and I thought it'll definitely count towards my Goodreads reading challenge. But in the past, I've written microfiction myself in a previous life, where the limit was about 120 words or less. So it was a little bit more generous, and one day I will share one of those with you on the channel. But the format is very, very challenging because it takes a lot of skill to craft a 100 word story which would contain a twist, and you just cannot waste a single word. Every word has to count. And it's harder than writing in the long form because you have to cut words and rewrite, and it can be frustrating, but I've written a few polished pieces myself, and it is a lot of fun with the process. But in here you're going to find some big names such as Richard Chizmar. He is Stephen King's longtime collaborator. There's also Amy Cross. She's a very prolific and very well-known horror writer. She wrote the Haunting of Hadlow House series, and I'm going to be reading some of her work next year. We have Michael A. Arnzen, a flash fiction genius. Now, he wrote a really good collection called Proverbs for Monsters, but one of my favourite books that I have in the library is this one here called 100 Jolts. Now, this is a classic example of how you can use word economy to your advantage and write short, punchy pieces with so much impact, more impact in fact than a longer piece of fiction, and these are fantastic to read. Okay, and we also have Jeff Strand. So just to name a few main names here. Alright, now the formats of the stories is interesting because you can write it in a poetic form, you can write an atmospheric piece, or you can write a very fast-paced piece with a lot of dialogue and things like that, and short lines, so that it actually reads a lot quicker. And I think, don't quote me, I think there's about 100 stories in here, and I absolutely smashed through them, and I've picked out a few favourites which I'm going to share with you. So what I'm going to do is start with this one. It's called Hobby by Matt Hickman. The bellicose, coppery aroma of spilled blood, interspersed with the putrid stench of his voided bowels, hangs in the air. I breathe it in and revel in his suffering. His ruined carcass lays slumped in the chair in a defeated posture. A stream of warm claret dribbles from his fingertips to the wooden, blood-soaked floorboards. I hear a familiar voice calling from a distance. Damn! I dance across the room in elation, carefully shut and lock the door of my treehouse, and begin to descend the rickety wooden ladder. Coming, Mom! I wonder what's for dinner. I hope it's spaghetti. So that gives impact in so little words. This just tells you how you can craft a story using very, very good graphic imagery to convey what you're wanting to say. And I think that's just a prime example and a superior example of how you can craft a 100-word story really, really well. The next one I'm going to share with you is called Another Tonight by William F. Nolan. Now, this is an example of something very, very different and the ultimate in word economy here, because he doesn't use complete sentences in this one, but uses just enough wordage to put as much information as possible into a 100-word story. Okay, here it goes. Now, pay attention to this because it's going to be short, really snappy sentences. Okay, some of these sentences are only about 4 or 5 words, so here we go. Night, cold, heavy rain, shining streets, blinking neons, bar, warm inside, whiskey sours, glow, ready for another, feeling strong, sexy blonde, great figure, alone at a bar, smiling at him, cinch. No problem with her, back at his place, her staggering, holding onto his arm. Inside apartment, music on stereo, intimate, cozy, fire and some wine. She goes to the bathroom, pills go in her glass. Woozy, she said. Dizzy. He smiles. You'll be fine. She passes out on sofa. Knife, sharp, uses it. Blood, lots of it, cuts her up, bags her from car to river, back to bar. Another tonight. You can just see how that is very, very clever, because it's not a cohesive, flowing story, but he gives just enough of an idea of what's happening, so it's stripped down to its bare core. So you could pad that and have a 500-page story very, very easily, but it just gives you all those images in a very quick form. So I was very impressed with that one, and it was a really big standout for me. Alright, try this next one on for size, guys. This one is called What's for Dinner by Christopher Motz. And this one actually made me laugh out loud, but I have a warped sense of humour sometimes. Bernie had never been a fan of his grandmother, but her holiday dinners were epic. This year was like all others, except for the fact that the house smelled more like roadkill than savoury baked turkey. The table was set, but in the place of steaming trays of meat and corn were piles of writhing maggots and dusty plates. Bernie saw Grandma seconds later, dangling from a rope in front of the dry Christmas tree. A 3-sentence note was pinned to her sagging flesh. Make your own fucking dinner. Your grandfather is hanging in the garage. Merry Christmas, assholes. So, you know, short and snappy, and impact is what this is all about. So it's really hard to pull off, and these are excellent examples of how 100-word stories are so effective. Okay, so this next story, or the last one I'm going to share with you, is one of my favourites and a huge standout for me, because this is a prime example of how you deliver the twist, or what I call the sting in the tail, with such a short piece. It gives you a real buzz when you actually work out what the twist is when you're writing them, and almost reading these, it makes me want to go back and start writing them again, because I remember having a lot of fun with them, and I did manage to have a few pieces published myself online and whatnot. But this one, get a load of this. This one's called The Dolls by Mark Lukens. Mum, when are we leaving? As soon as your father fixes the engine. Why don't you go play with your dolls? I'm saving them for later. I had to hide them in a box. From your sister? Yes, she already broke all of her dolls. She pulled their arms and legs off. She smashed their heads flat and stomped on them. She shouldn't do that. She's always mean to her dolls. It's a waste. We're not getting any more dolls on this trip. Mum! Yes? What do the dolls call themselves down there on their own planet? They call themselves humans. So that's the twist. You think that they're talking about normal dolls, but then the twist is delivered in such a way that you realise that they're aliens and they've been killing humans on Earth. So it's really, really, it's misleading in a good way, because it fools you, and that's the beauty of writing a story with a twist ending, and it just surprises readers and just impresses no end, and that's one of my favourites. But guys, that is just a few of the stories contained within this collection. I absolutely loved it. If you're waiting in line for an appointment, you can just read a few of these, and they're just short and snappy. They're very low commitment, and they read very, very quickly and thoroughly entertaining. So do yourself a favour, download this one. I think you'll get a kick out of it, because the short form like this in 100-word stories is very uncommon, and it's a novelty to read, and you just enjoy a wide cross-section of different writing styles as well. And the other thing too is, if you sample all these stories, if you like a story in particular, you'd probably go and have a look at the author's backlist and see what other work you can read of theirs. But I was really impressed with it. I love the fact that I picked it up, because it was thoroughly entertaining, and managed to smash it. And of course it goes towards my Goodreads target, which I'm pretty happy about. But yeah, what more can I say? Absolutely loved it, and grab yourself a copy. Alright, thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Offer up any feedback or comments below as per usual, and I'll always respond and engage with you on that. But until the next video, guys, happy reading.